Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Robin from Move More Live Better. I'm a physio and a Pilates and yoga instructor, and today we are going to do a sunny day yoga flow because it's sunny here in Ireland and we need to celebrate when the sun comes out in Ireland. So we're going to do just a general flow to bring the warmth and the heat and the energy of the sun into us, and to just really connect with our surroundings, whether you're doing this inside or outside. Always feel free to level up or level down as you needed to make this practice work for you, because as always in yoga, I am your guide, but it is your practice. We're going to start today at the top of our mats, and we are going to start in mountain pose. Never underestimate the power of mountain pose. So just taking a few moments to ground yourself and come into the mat and be present on the mat. So connecting all of your foot to the floor, drawing some energy up through the ground into your body. Take a deep cleansing breath, filling your lungs all the way up, and exhale through your mouth. And again, breathing in and out. Again, just taking a moment to be present where you are at this time on the mat, taking a moment to feel the surroundings, feel the air on your skin, the noises around you, whether it's the drill of the neighbors, or whether it's the birds singing if you're outside, or if it's the sound of loved ones, or even the sound of silence. And leaving whatever the rest of the day had or has to come off the mat, and just being present in the moment. We're going to start with a few rounds of basic sun salutations. Finding that nice engagement within the body in mountain pose. So lifting up your kneecaps, drawing your navel in towards your spine. Nice long back, long neck. And connecting with your breath. So we're going to start connecting to that ujjayi breath. So sealing your lips, breathing in through your nose and out. That feeling of fogging up a mirror, but with your mouth sealed. And really making sure, as always, that we're staying connected to the breath for the whole of the practice. We're going to start by sweeping our arms up over our head with a big in-breath. Connecting your palms overhead and hands through heart center. And again, big deep breath in and out. We're going to bring a little bit more movement, make this a bit bigger. So bending the knees, sweeping the fingertips along the floor for a big in-breath up. And breathing out, hands through heart center. Take 3 more rounds like that in your own speed with your own breath. So breathing in and out. And again, breathing in and out. And again. And out. We're going to take a few rounds of sun salutations. We can't have a sunny day flow without sun salutations, so feel free to take these at your own pace, or you can follow me, but make sure you stay connected with your breath the whole time. So we're going to start with an in-breath, small little back bend, keeping everything contained to start with, because this is just the warm-up. So diving forward, knees bent into your forward fold. Nice big generous bend in your knees to start with. Breathing in to lift up to a flat back, sliding your hands up your shins, and folding forward again with bent knees. Planting your hands on the earth, we're going to step our right leg back to a long lunge. Feel free to put your knee down if you would like. Planting your hands, stepping back to your plank, knees down to start with for our first round. Then diving forward, chin, chest, and rolling through to just a small cobra to start with. And back down, and pressing back into your child's pose, tucking your toes under and lifting up to your downward dog. First downward dog of the practice. Stepping your right foot through, So we're in a long lunge. Again, feel free to put your knee down if you'd like. Bringing your feet together, so big toes to touch or a small gap. Folding forward, still keeping a generous bend in your knees. Stretching up to a flat back. Folding forward again. And then rolling up through your spine. Reaching up high, palms connect, and through heart center. Let's take that again. Breathing in and diving forward. Flat back. This time we're going to step our left leg back, so bending forward, stepping your left leg back, planting your hands on the earth, stepping back to your high plank, knees, chin, chest, rolling through to your cobra, maybe slightly higher this time, and down, pressing back to your down child's pose, tucking the toes under and lifting the hips high. And coming through with the left foot to your lunge, feet together, flat back, forward fold, and rolling up, connecting those palms overhead, and back through heart center. We're going to take a few more rounds. Feel free to take them at your own pace with your own breath, but always staying connected to the breath. So breathing in and diving forward, working a little bit deeper, maybe slightly straighter legs now. Flat back, breathing in and breathing out to forward fold. Stepping back to your long lunge, and then feet into high plank. Lower your knees, or you can do a full chaturanga if you'd like at this point. Rolling through up dog or cobra, and then lifting those hips high to downward dog. Right leg forward, lifting up, bringing your feet together, flat back, forward fold, and rolling up. And through heart center. And again, breathing in, swan dive forward, slightly straighter legs now. Breathing in to lift up, and breathing out to forward fold. This time the left leg goes back. And in your hands, chaturanga or knees down. Rolling through to up dog, and lifting hips high to downward dog. And left knee steps through, feet together, breathing in for a flat back, folding forward and rolling up, connecting those hands through heart center. 2 more times just like that, each time working a little bit deeper into the poses, but still respecting your body and never pushing too far, obviously. Flat back, folding forward, right leg goes back, feet together, chaturanga, knees down if you'd like, up dog, and down dog. Let's take 1 breath in down dog. Right leg comes through, feet together, breathing in for a flat back, breathing out to forward fold, and rolling up, and hands through heart center. And again, breathing in to dive forward, breathing out. Breathing in, flat back. Breathing out, fold forward. Left leg this time goes back. High plank, chaturanga, up dog or cobra, and lifting high to downward dog. 1 breath in downward dog. And left leg comes through. Feet together. Breathing in for a flat back, breathing out and rolling up. Last time each side. Really coming in a bit deeper into your stretches now. Breathing in, breathing out. Right foot goes back. High plank to low plank. Rolling through to up dog and down dog. One breath in down dog. Right leg steps through. Feet together. Breathing out. Breathing in for a flat back. And breathing out to fold forward. Rolling up. And palms to heart center. Last time. Diving forward. Flat back. Folding forward. Left leg goes this time. Plant the hands. Lowering down. Up dog or cobra. Down dog. One breath. And left leg steps through. Forward fold. Breathing in for a flat back. Breathing out. And rolling up through the spine. And hands through heart center. We should hopefully all feel quite a bit warmer now. Have lots of energy from the sun in our bodies. Let's take another big deep breath in mountain pose. High mountain. Folding forward into a forward fold. You can step, walk, or jump those feet back. And we're going to come into a down dog. So lifting your hips high. We're just going to connect to the earth now, adjusting your down dog as you needed. 3 deep breaths in down dog. Feel free to pedal out your legs or sway your hips side to side, whatever your body needs at this point in time. And we're just going to move into a bit more of a flow, so building a bit more heat and a bit more energy in the body. Start by lifting the right leg high to your 3-legged dog. And open that hip. Allow that hip to open. Just stretch the front of the hip. Rolling out that ankle, if you like. And the other way. And level those hips. Back to a 3-legged down dog. And then bringing your knee to your nose. Waking up those core muscles now. And shifting to a 3-legged dog again. And again, knee to nose. This time we're going to step that leg through. And we're going to sweep our arms up to a high lunge, high crescent lunge. And deep breath in crescent lunge. Still staying present in the mat, aware of your surroundings, but being present on the mat. We're going to rotate into Warrior 2, nice strong Warrior 2, full of energy here. And then reaching forwards to go back for a reverse warrior. And coming back to Warrior 2, sweep that back arm back up to a crescent lunge. And we're going to come to twisted crescent lunge. So reaching your right arm back and your left arm forward. Still staying strong through your legs, strong through your center. Keep that navel pulling towards your spine. And sweeping that arm back up to a crescent lunge. And we're going to rotate again into Warrior 2, but then we're going to come into, we're prepping for triangle pose here. So straighten that front leg. Let's come into reverse triangle first. And then hinging from your waist, reaching forward, and then coming into your triangle pose. Feel free to use a block or hand to your shin or all the way to the floor if you'd like. You can bind your big toe if you'd like, but just make sure if you are very flexible that you're staying strong through your center. You're not just collapsing down, but equally if a block helps you find the pose better, please do use a block. 3 breaths here in triangle pose. And charging up through the top arm to come back up, back into reverse triangle. And bending back into your Warrior 2. Bring that arm back through to a crescent lunge. And coming down to your low lunge, to a high plank, knees down if you'd like, chaturanga, up dog, and lifting the hips high to down dog. Same thing on the other side, so lifting that left leg high now. And let's open the hips here, nice front of the thigh stretch, rotating the ankle. And level your hips again, engaging those core muscles. We're going to bring knee to nose and sending that leg up high again. And knee to nose, quietly stepping that foot through and engaging those core muscles to lift you up into a high crescent lunge. 3 breaths in crescent lunge. And then we're going to rotate into warrior 2. So finding a nice strong warrior, sinking deep into that front knee, belly button pulling towards the spine, staying strong in your center. And reaching up to go back into reverse warrior. And back to warrior 2. And sweep that back arm back to crescent lunge. Coming into our twisted crescent lunge now. So left arm back, right arm forward. So hips still stay facing forward. You're twisting through your spine here. 3 breaths here. And then sweeping back to a crescent lunge. Opening back to warrior 2. We're prepping for triangle pose here. So straight front knee. Reaching forward to go up and back for a reverse triangle. And then hinging forward, reaching forward to then hinge into your triangle pose. A nice view of my back body here. Hand to a shin, hand to your shin, a block, or binding your big toe if you want. But staying strong in your center, rotating through your chest, energy through that top arm. 3 breaths here. And charging through the top arm, come back up, lifting back up into your reverse triangle, and sinking back into warrior 2, spinning that back heel into a crescent lunge, and hands back to the earth to take your vinyasa or meet straight back in downward dog. So high plank to low plank, up dog, and pressing back to downward dog. 3 deep breaths in downward dog. We're just going to go through that flow again, slightly faster this time. And adding on as well. Always staying connected to your breath. So lifting right leg high to your 3-legged downward dog. Engaging your core muscles, knee to nose. And extending that leg high again. And knee to nose, stepping quietly through. Lifting up to your crescent lunge. We want just 1 breath for each pose now. Sinking into your warrior 2. And reverse warrior. Warrior 2. Spinning that back heel to crescent lunge to come to your twisted lunge. 1 breath. Sweeping that arm back up to crescent lunge. And back to warrior 2. Prepping for triangle. Straighten that front leg. Reverse triangle. And then reaching forward to hinge into your triangle pose. 1 breath here. From here, bend your front knee and reaching those fingertips, a foot in front of your foot, finding a drishti point. We're going to lift into half moon now. Stay focused. 3 breaths here. And quietly, gently stepping back into your warrior 2. Reverse warrior. And hands back to the earth for your vinyasa. High plank to low plank. Up dog. And lifting those hips high to down dog. 3 breaths in down dog. And lifting that left leg high now. And knee to nose. And 3-legged dog. Knee to nose. Stepping quietly through to lift up into your crescent lunge. 1 breath here. Opening to your warrior 2. Reverse warrior. And back to your crescent lunge. And coming into your twisted crescent lunge. 1 breath. Spinning back up to crescent lunge and back to warrior 2. Stretching the front leg up and back into reverse triangle to come to triangle pose. So reaching forward and down. Opening that chest. 1 breath in triangle pose. And then finding a focus in front of you, a drishti point, fingertips a foot in front of you or to a block if you'd like. And lifting up into half moon. 3 breaths in half moon. And stepping quietly back into your warrior 2 and coming into reverse warrior. And cartwheel those hands back to the earth. High plank or knees down, chaturanga or straight back to downward dog, cobra or up dog, and lifting those hips up to downward dog. 3 breaths in downward dog. Just slowing it down now. We're going to lift our right leg high. Bring your knee towards your nose and just bring that knee all the way through to come into half pigeon pose. So we're going to do an active pigeon pose today. So lifting up tall through your chest. You can stay here if that's enough for you, or you can interlace your fingers behind your back and then reach those palms down and away. Come into a slight back bend here if your body allows it. And breathing slow and deep. So again, slowing down the breathing. Staying lifted through your chest. And we're just going to take some active folds in pigeon today. So again, maintaining that heat and energy that we've built with the rest of the practice. So hinging forward from your hips. And then coming back up. So we're kind of rippling our spine down and forward. Of course, you can just stay in pigeon if that's what you would prefer. But maintaining some active mobility, or building some active mobility in those hips with an active pigeon. And of course, opening our shoulders as well with the hands behind our back. Just 1 more round, and we're going to just stay forward this time. So release the interlace of your fingers and just resting forward, just for 2 breaths here. And using your core muscles and your back muscles to lift you back up. Tucking those back toes and coming back to downward dog. Just taking a moment to reset here. We're going to do the same active pigeon variation on the left leg. So start by lifting that left leg high and sweeping it through, knee to nose, all the way through into your pigeon pose. Adjusting your leg to get a good angle for your hip. Staying here if you'd like, really lifting through your chest, shining your chest forward, or if you'd like to deepen the pose, interlacing your hands, try and interlace with the other finger on top, and then opening your chest. You can, of course, do this with a strap as well if your shoulders can't quite extend all the way, but you would like to get that chest opener. Please feel free to use a strap. And we're just going to start by taking a few deep breaths here in this open pigeon pose. And then we're going to go into those active spinal waves, or of course just staying here if that's what you'd like. So hinging forward and then using the strength of your core muscles and your back to lift you back up. Hinging forward and up. And twice more. And this time we're going to stay forward. So coming down and unclasp your hands, hands to the earth. 2 breaths here in pigeon. And then tucking those toes and lifting back up to a downward dog again. 3 breaths in downward dog to reset. Bringing your gaze between your hands, we're going to step, walk, or float into a seated position. And we're going to come into boat pose. So engaging those core muscles, lifting your feet. You can stay here if you'd like, or you can extend your legs long. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths in boat pose. Rebend those knees if they're straight, and let's slowly lower onto our backs. Bringing your heels close in, we're going to come into bridge pose now. So engaging in your core muscles, engaging your tummy muscles, and lifting your spine up. And let's just roll back down. So we're just going to take a couple of rounds of active bridge. So rolling your spine up off the mat. And lowering down. This time we're going to keep our hips lifted high. You can interlace your fingers if you'd like, rolling onto the outside edge of your shoulders. Keep drawing your knees towards each other so you avoid splaying those knees out wide. And keep your core muscles pulled in, squeeze your glutes. And unlock those fingers if they're interlaced and rolling back down. Just allow your knees to drop in towards each other. Have a moment of rest. Deep breath. You can take another round of full bridge, or you can join me in wheel pose if wheel pose is in your practice. Bring those feet back in line with your hips. If you're going to join me in wheel, flipping your palms by your ears. Coming first onto the crown of your head and then lifting up. Keeping your neck nice and long, keeping those glutes engaged, keeping those knees working in towards each other. 3 breaths here in wheel pose. If you're in wheel pose, coming back down to the crown of your head and slowly coming out, or of course if you're in bridge pose, coming out of that as well. You can take the classic counter pose, which is fish pose, or you can join me in just windshield wipering those knees side to side. Bringing those knees back to the center. I'm going to just build a little bit more heat in those core muscles now. So bring your feet back underneath your hips. Bring your knees up to a tabletop position. And we're going to lift our head and chest up off the mat and extending your legs to any degree that you'd like for a low boat. This is obviously the slightly easier version. Bringing your legs all the way down is harder, but do try to maintain your lower back on the floor. And we're just going to hold for 2 more breaths. And use the strength of your core to bring those knees back into your chest. Give yourself a tight squeeze. Rolling the length of our spine now. We're going to take 3 rolls. And then if you'd like, you can jump back to chaturanga or just step back, your choice. up dog or cobra, and back to down dog. Take Dolphin Pose today for an inversion and arm strengthener here, but feel free to take any other arm balance that you would like. If you'd like to join me in Dolphin Pose, coming onto your forearms, coming onto your toes, walk your feet a little closer in and lifting your hips high. If you have forearm balance in your practice, now would be a good time to do that. It is one pose that completely escapes me. I'm not wanting to practice it on the concrete here. But lifting those hips high, building a lot of strength, and of course, this is a really good inversion as well. So 3 breaths here. Good. If you're in forearm balance with control, bringing those knees down. Otherwise, try and push up if you can through your hands to come straight back into your downward dog. That in itself is quite challenging and good for building your arm strength. We're going to come now into a seated forward fold. So strengthen the quads, lifting up tall through your spine, reaching up high first, and then hinging forward from the waist and coming to whatever is available to you. Hands to your knees, your shin, you can use a strap, or if you have the flexibility, wrapping your hands around the balls of your feet. Trying not to round too much through your spine, so still trying to keep your spine nice and long, and then rounding forward just at the very last minute. 3 deep breaths in forward fold. And then re-engaging the back muscles to lift back up. And then I'm just going to come sideways onto the mat so you can see me. Feel free to just bring one leg off to the side, bringing your foot in towards your other leg. We're going to do a nice side stretch here. So reaching up and over. Now, if you've got the flexibility, feel free to bind your big toe, but make sure your chest stays shining forward. So 3 deep breaths here. Energy in the pose still, even though we're stretching now. Keep it strong. Strengthen those quad muscles so you're still pulling up your kneecap. Breathing in to lift you out of the pose. And then we're just going to straight away change legs to the other side. So switching legs and then again lifting up and over. You might find one side you have a bit more flexibility. Maybe one side you can do the bind, but the other side you can't. I've got the flexibility to do the bind, but it's definitely the expense of keeping my chest forward. So I often choose not to do the bind to maintain that rotation in my spine. And breathing in to bring you out of the pose. And then coming back onto our back, so with control, rolling down through your spine, hugging those knees into your chest. Feel free to stay here with crossing hand to opposite elbow, or you can join me in happy baby. So grabbing hold of those big toes, binding those big toes, or hands around the outside of your feet. Deep hip compression here, good for hip mobility. Rocking side to side if you would like. And when you're ready, extending the legs long, one at a time for Shavasana. And again, just coming back to the awareness of your surroundings. So taking a moment to make sure that you're still feeling the breath. but coming now to the natural rhythm of breathing, being aware of the noises and the stillness and the air around you, still staying present on the mat, feeling the breath coming in and out. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana as long as time will allow. Otherwise, join me in rolling to the side and pushing up through center, coming to an easy pose, or you can come to lotus pose if you'd like. And then one deep breath all together to finish, and hands through heart center. Thank you for joining me today. Do take a couple of minutes to hit that little thumbs up button and subscribe, and I hope to see you on the mat again soon.